It's such a shame that most turbo diesel owners are making these critical mistakes without even realizing it. I want your engine to last 500,000 plus miles, so I'm not wasting any time. Let's go over each of these mistakes and I'll show you exactly how you can change your turbo diesel engine from a potential money pit that breaks down constantly to a reliable workhorse that will literally save you thousands in repairs while achieving incredible longevity. The first and most devastating mistake that will destroy your turbo diesel faster than anything else is laboring your engine. Have you ever pushed your diesel engine hard at low RPMs and felt that struggling, laboring sensation? What if I told you this single habit could be cutting your engine's life in half? Laboring a turbo diesel engine creates excessive strain on engine components. When a turbo diesel engine is labored, it struggles to produce power efficiently. This leads to incomplete combustion and increased heat generation. The turbo actuator can get clogged if the turbo isn't exercised regularly by higher RPMs and load, which can be prevented through proper driving practices that include periodic spirited driving to keep systems clean. Think about it this way. Your diesel engine has a specific range where it operates best. For most turbo diesels, the boost range typically begins around 2,000 RPM and extends to approximately 3,000 RPM, making this the ideal operating window for regular driving conditions. Remember this simple rule. More throttle with low revs is bad and causes laboring, while more throttle with higher revs is better as it allows the engine to burn fuel efficiently. You should ideally use higher RPM with moderate throttle instead of low RPM with heavy throttle to avoid this destructive driving pattern. The second thing that most turbo diesel owners get completely wrong is using incorrect oil specifications, and it's destroying their engines every single day they drive. Did you know that using non-approved oils can cause severe damage to cam and lifters? That's a repair bill no one wants to face. For VWTD is the VW505.01 specification oil is absolutely critical for certain engines, while DPF and mid-engines require VW507.00 spec oil, typically 5W30. For modern turbo diesel engines with emissions equipment, you should use low ash oils that are compatible with diesel particulate filters. For turbocharger health, you should use high-quality synthetic oil. Turbochargers are particularly sensitive to oil quality because they operate at extremely high speeds and temperatures, making contaminated or degraded oil especially damaging to turbo bearings and seals. A costly third mistake that can lead to expensive turbocharger replacement is inadequate turbocharger care, particularly regarding shutdown procedures. Turbos spin at very high speeds and generate significant heat, especially under heavy load conditions. When the engine is shut off, oil circulation to the turbo stops, causing the turbo to remain hot without cooling oil flow. This situation can lead to oil coking, where oil carbonizes and forms hard deposits on turbo bearings, potentially damaging the turbo over time. However, the good news is that modern turbos are much tougher than older ones. Engineering has improved a lot, especially in newer Euro 4, Euro 5, and Euro 6 engines. Today's engines only need cool down if you've been working them really hard, like when your turbo is singing from heavy towing or high-speed driving. For normal city driving, you can usually shut off your engine right away because slowing down and parking gives enough cooling time. It's actually better to avoid unnecessary idling to save fuel and reduce emissions. For VW Passat TDI vehicles, cool down is most important after heavy driving with high exhaust gas temperatures, particularly after highway runs or engine regeneration cycles. Now, regeneration, or regen, is when your diesel engine burns off soot from the diesel particulate filter by getting extremely hot. During regen, temperatures can reach over 1,300 degrees Fahrenheit, so never shut off during this process. After regen, idle for a few minutes until temperatures drop below 450 degrees Fahrenheit before shutdown. For Cummins diesel trucks, cool down is most important after long, hard drives such as highway runs, towing, or heavy loads where turbo and exhaust gas temperatures have been high. Short trips of 15 minutes or less generally don't need cool down. Let the engine idle for 1 to 5 minutes after heavy work to allow turbo and oil temperatures to drop. The key is watching your exhaust gas temperature. You should avoid shutting down when it's above 300 degrees with regular oil or above 400 degrees with synthetic oil. Many drivers aim for below 450 degrees for extra safety. If you want to make this automatic, you can install devices like turbo timers or EGT monitors that keep your engine running until it's safe to shut down, then turn off automatically. This way, you can walk away without waiting around. This is recommended for vehicles like the Ram 1500 Eco Diesel. Extended idling represents the fourth most misunderstood aspect of turbo diesel engine warm-up procedures. Unlike gasoline engines, letting a turbo diesel engine idle for extended periods does not significantly raise its operating temperature, particularly in cold weather conditions. This occurs because diesel engines are exceptionally efficient and produce minimal excess heat during idle operation. The cold starts represent the most challenging conditions for diesel engines. Modern turbo diesel engines use special glow plugs that heat up the engine's combustion chambers before starting. When you turn your key to on position before cranking, you'll see a yellow coil symbol on your dashboard. This means the glow plugs are warming up. You must wait for this light to turn off before starting the engine, especially in cold weather. Skipping this step is like trying to light a campfire with wet wood. It just won't work properly and can damage your engine. Starting and immediately driving hard when the engine and oil are cold causes increased wear and can damage critical components like turbochargers. Cold engines need gentle treatment because thick, cold oil doesn't flow well to protect moving parts. The problem becomes more pronounced in cold weather, where idling below approximately 30 degrees Fahrenheit produces what some operators describe as negative heat, actually cooling the passenger compartment while simultaneously loading up the diesel particulate filter with unburned fuel and particulates. Cold weather can also cause diesel fuel to thicken like honey, making it harder for your engine to get the fuel it needs. The fundamental principle is that driving gently under moderate load warms turbo diesel engines much faster than continued idling, while simultaneously reducing overall engine wear. 30 seconds to 1 minute is sufficient to allow oil circulation after the glow plug light turns off, then shift at slightly higher RPM during warm-up to keep the engine running smoothly. Think of it like warming up your body. The light exercise gets your blood flowing better than just sitting still. Fuel filter maintenance is the fifth critical factor for turbo diesel longevity and represents one of the most important preventive measures owners can take. Have you been changing your fuel filters as often as you should? Most owners severely underestimate how important this simple maintenance task really is. Change fuel filters every other oil change to protect the expensive, high-pressure fuel pump. Always use OEM fuel filters rather than cheap aftermarket alternatives that don't meet filtration standards. Bad diesel fuel is a major cause of premature failures in modern diesel engines. Always use fresh diesel from high-volume truck stops due to their fuel turnover. Use fuel additives with every tank to keep injectors clean and improve fuel quality. Top recommendations include arc oil for best results, Hot Shots EDT for affordability, Stanodyne, and Seafoam. In cold weather below 30 degrees Fahrenheit, anti-gelling additives become essential to prevent fuel from thickening and damaging your fuel pump. A fundamental sixth mistake that leads to catastrophic failures is not adhering to the strict maintenance schedules that TDIs require, particularly regarding oil and filter changes, which represent the single most critical factor for turbo diesel longevity. Are you changing your oil too frequently or not frequently enough? Either way could be costing you money or engine life. A common mistake involves either changing oil too frequently or not frequently enough, often based on misunderstanding how to assess oil condition in diesel engines. A critical misunderstanding is using oil color as an indicator of oil condition. Oil color, particularly blackness, is not a reliable indicator of oil condition in TDI engines, because soot turns oil black quickly, and this is completely normal in diesel engines due to emissions systems. Oil analysis is the proper way to assess oil health rather than visual inspection, and this scientific approach should replace subjective visual assessment methods. The recommended oil change interval varies significantly based on engine type and usage patterns. For 2004 to 2006 US TDI engines, Volkswagen's official recommendation includes initial oil changes at 5,000 miles and 10,000 miles, followed by subsequent oil changes every 10,000 miles using VW 505.01 rated oil. The seventh critical mistake modern turbo diesel owners make is neglecting proper diesel particulate filter care, which can lead to costly repairs and system failures. Have you noticed reduced power or worse fuel economy lately? Your DPF might be clogging, and it's a problem that's going to get expensive if you don't address it. The DPF is a known weak point and Achilles heel of modern diesels, prone to clogging and failure. The fundamental mistake is engaging in driving patterns that prevent proper DPF regeneration, specifically making frequent short trips and constant low-speed driving, which increases the risk of DPF clogging significantly. Diesel trucks with modern emissions systems rely on the engine reaching high temperatures to regenerate and clean the diesel particulate filter, and frequent short trips, such as 5-mile journeys, don't allow the engine to get hot enough, causing DPF clogging, reduced power, lower fuel economy, and expensive repairs. Here's what most diesel owners don't understand about strategic driving habits. Diesel engines prefer to be hot and do not perform well when cold. So avoiding short, low-speed trips is important for multiple reasons, including DPF health, carbon management, and overall engine longevity. You should take your vehicle on long highway runs regularly, at least once per tank or minimum 30 minutes at highway speeds, to raise engine temperature and burn off carbon deposits. This practice is often referred to as an Italian tune-up and is essential for maintaining engine health. You should occasionally rev the turbo diesel engine higher when warm. It helps clean the combustion chamber and turbo. Diesel engines are robust and benefit from being used actively rather than gently. If your truck signals active regeneration, you should keep driving until it completes to avoid issues, as interrupting active regeneration cycles is a serious mistake. Active regeneration is indicated by high idle around 980 RPM and cooling fans running full blast. The battery voltage also spikes during DPF regeneration cycle. An eighth mistake that leads to multiple turbo diesel engine problems is neglecting exhaust gas recirculation system maintenance, which can cause performance issues and expensive repairs. Have you been experiencing rough idle, power loss, or overheating? Your EGR system might be the culprit. EGR assemblies tend to block over time and can leak coolant via cores, leading to check engine lights, rough idle, power loss, overheating, and increased emissions. The fundamental mistake is allowing carbon buildup to clog the EGR valve and EGR cooler without taking preventive action. You should clean the EGR valve regularly to prevent buildup and maintain efficiency as part of preventive maintenance practices. Many turbo diesel owners make this ninth critical mistake when modifying their engines, particularly with improper tuning approaches that can cause significant damage. Do you know what happens when you add a simple power chip without proper supporting modifications? Here's the deadly problem. In diesel engines, you add fuel first, then boost to match it. Add fuel without enough air, and your exhaust gas temperatures will destroy your engine. Most cheap tuning boxes are just resistors that trick your sensors. They make your computer dump in more fuel, but your turbo can't create more air to burn it cleanly. Your engine needs cold, dense air because it has more oxygen. But here's where people mess up with exhaust systems. When hot exhaust gases expand into bigger pipes, they cool and become denser. Dense gases are heavier, creating back pressure that kills power. A badly designed big exhaust makes your truck slower, despite sounding louder. Heat kills engines. Exhaust gas temperatures above 1400 degrees start cooking pistons and valves. Above 1500 degrees will crack heads and melt pistons. Real tuning uses ECU remapping, not plug-in boxes. Quality tunes add 25 to 30% more power by balancing fuel with boost pressure. Street tunes sacrifice peak power for cooler temperatures and drivability. Race tunes maximize power but run dangerously hot, with thick black smoke. More torque destroys clutches and gearboxes without transmission tuning. Proper tunes adjust shift points and torque converter lockup to handle extra power. Supporting modifications matter. Upgrade map sensors from 2.5 bar to 3 bar for higher boost. Install intercoolers to cool intake air. Use pyrometers to monitor exhaust temperatures. Water methanol injection drops temperatures by 100 to 150 degrees. The biggest mistake is thinking you can plug in a chip for instant power. Real gains come from understanding your turbo diesel as a complete system. Increase fuel without matching airflow and heat management, and you'll cook your engine from the inside out. A significant 10th mistake many turbo diesel drivers make is failing to understand optimal engine load and efficiency principles, which directly impacts both performance and longevity. Diesel engines operate most efficiently at about 85% load and at mid-low RPMs around 1800 RPM, where combustion is optimal and fuel consumption is most efficient. Many drivers make the mistake of consistently operating outside this optimal range, either through excessive low RPM operation or unnecessary high RPM operation. The mistake of trying to drive turbo diesels like petrol engines leads to inefficient operation and increased wear. Optimal driving habits for turbo diesel longevity involve maintaining the engine around 80% load rather than full throttle operation continuously, while avoiding abrupt engine shutdowns after high load driving. A significant 11th mistake that leads to poor maintenance decisions is not using appropriate diagnostic tools and relying on inadequate assessment methods. A VCDS diagnostic tool is highly recommended for troubleshooting and monitoring DPF health. You can also use aftermarket tools like PolarFIS or OBD11 to track soot levels, regeneration cycles, and exhaust temperatures. Know when active regeneration is happening so you don't interrupt it. Signs include high idle around 980 RPM and cooling fans running full blast. Never turn off your engine during this process. Another mistake is judging oil health by color. Oil analysis is the proper assessment method, not visual inspection. Engine condition assessment requires more than driving feel evaluation. Compression testing provides the most reliable method for assessing diesel engine health. New engines typically measure around 440 psi, while minimum acceptable compression should not fall below 320 psi. Multiple incidents reveal where drivers make the 12th catastrophic mistake by putting the wrong fluids in diesel engine systems, representing some of the most expensive single errors possible. One of the most severe mistakes documented is putting diesel exhaust fluid into diesel fuel tanks instead of the designated DEF reservoir. This error causes severe damage to equipment, including turbochargers, injectors, and injection pump. Never put DEF into the fuel tank or fuel into the DEF tank. These mixing mistakes can cost you $5,000 to $10,000 in repairs. Always double-check which filler you are using before adding any fluid. Use proper DEF fluid and avoid buying DEF from gas station pumps, since the quality may not be reliable. Instead, purchase quality DEF from trusted retailers like Walmart or Costco, where the product turnover is higher and fresher. DEF deteriorates over time, especially when exposed to heat and sunlight. Avoid buying DEF in bulk or storing it for too long because old DEF can form particles that clog your system. Buy only what you need for a few months and store it in a cool, dry place. Overlooking cooling system maintenance represents a 13th critical but often overlooked aspect of diesel engine care. Heat management is absolutely critical for keeping your engine alive, especially if you have tuned or modified your truck. Your cooling system should hold about 16 psi of pressure. Here is a simple test you can do right now. When your engine is hot, carefully squeeze the upper radiator hose. It should feel rock hard. If it feels soft or squishy, you have a pressure problem that needs fixing immediately. Your thermostat is like a gate that controls coolant flow. When it gets stuck closed, your engine overheats. Because coolant cannot flow, when it gets stuck open, your engine never warms up properly and runs poorly. Different engines need different thermostats, so make sure you get the right one for your specific truck. And here is something most people do not know. Your turbocharger gets extremely hot, sometimes over 1800 degrees. Water cooling helps prevent your turbo oil from turning into black sludge when you shut off the engine. While many diesel turbos work fine without water cooling, it definitely helps your turbo last longer. If you have tuned your truck for more power, you are making more heat. Your pistons take the biggest beating because they get hit with massive pressure and heat but have very little cooling. Consider upgrading your intercooler or adding bypass systems to handle this extra heat before it destroys your engine. Regular coolant changes are just as important as oil changes, but most people forget about them. Old coolant loses its ability to transfer heat and protect against corrosion. Check your coolant level regularly and change it according to your manual. For hot climate driving, remove those huge light bars from your grille. They block airflow and make your engine run hotter. Use smaller, low-profile lights instead. In cold climates, you can actually block part of your grill to help your engine warm up faster and maintain proper temperature. Just remember that proper thermostat function is what keeps everything in the right temperature range. Specific 14th mistake related to transmission operation in diesel vehicles can significantly impact component longevity, and many diesel owners don't realize how their driving habits affect transmission wear. Transmission fluid and filter should be changed every 40,000 miles, and neglecting this maintenance represents a significant mistake that can lead to transmission problems. For manual transmissions, changing gearbox oil every 5 years is recommended to reduce noise and improve economy. For automatic transmissions in trucks like the Cummins models, they do not circulate coolant through the cooler when in park, so letting the truck idle in neutral with the parking brake on for a few minutes after a long haul helps cool the transmission fluid and prevent overheating. This consideration adds another dimension to the cooldown process beyond just turbo protection, particularly for vehicles used for towing or heavy-duty applications. So, the bottom line is that most diesel owners think basic maintenance is enough, but achieving 500,000 to 1 million miles requires advanced strategies that go beyond oil changes. Ready to join the elite group whose engines run forever? For extreme longevity, use high-quality synthetic oil every 5,000 miles with diesel fuel treatments. Drive smoothly within the power band, avoid excessive revving and lugging, but occasionally stretch it to clear carbon buildup. Rust is your engine's biggest enemy. Treat your chassis with lanolin-based rust prevention sprays. Never use bed liner or rubberizer sprays for rust protection as they cause more harm than good. Follow these strategies consistently, and your turbo diesel will become the reliable workhorse it was designed to be. Reaching 500,000 miles isn't just possible, it's achievable. Your diesel will reward proper care with exceptional service life that'll make you wonder why everyone else's engines quit so early. If this helped you avoid costly engine mistakes, hit that like button and subscribe for more diesel secrets that'll save you thousands. Thanks for watching, and keep those diesels running strong.